This is a special edition CNN Newscast. I'm Amanda Rooney. US lawmakers have voted to put tighter restrictions on allowing Syrian refugees into the country. Lawmakers want to add stringent security checks to a programme which would let up to 10,000 Syrians into the US over the next year. President Obama is expected to veto the bill, which still has to go through the Senate. Our correspondent, Dominic Heckles, has this update.
Now, for many, these attacks in Paris on Friday were a game changer, particularly for the United States. Yesterday, we saw dozens of Democrats join Republicans as the US House of Representatives looked to pass a bill that looked to tighten and restrict limitations, and they applied this on any refugees entering the United States.
What would the bill require? The
bill would require security checks from the head of FBI, the Homeland Security, and actually the Director of National Intelligence. Now, this is to make sure that any refugees entering the US will not pose a threat.
How many refugees are we talking about?
Well, the US is actually the world's top country in resettling refugees. So we're talking about a lot of people here. I mean, year to date, it's actually coming in just under 70,000 refugees, which have actually been resettled there. Now, for them, the US is, it's the home from crisis, it's the home from vulnerability, and it's also a home from conflict. So this is not just a key to safety for them. This is actually a means to living and a means for survival. Now, Obama is looking to veto this bill later on today, but let's just take a look at what the people of London had to say about the current proposals.
If I were them, I should do exactly the same thing. I should take my child and my husband and try to go somewhere else.
The borders is not the real problem. The real problem for me are our thinking.
Rather than just saying put restrictions, I think you should just cap it to how many people you let in every year.
If you want new people to live in your country, of course you want to know who they are and where they come from, the background.
Now, the Republicans' votes will not have enough to override Obama's veto in this case, but the votes, particularly from the Democrats in this case, do pose concern and maybe do also show a little bit of symbolism here.
Thank you very much, Dominic. Coming up next, in the wake of the latest terror attacks in Paris, we now ask whether Muslims should have to defend their religion.
Welcome back. I'm Erin Golding. Now, today marks 1 week since the deadly terror attacks in Paris. Many Muslims worldwide have condemned the latest attacks of terrorism, but amid concerns about rising levels of Islamophobia in the Western world, some have also had to defend their religion. The question is, should they have to? Our specialist reporter, Natasha Lipman, has more.
Hi, Erin. Well, it's been hard to miss the viral stories that have been all over social media, from the Muslims popping up in Paris offering hugs while blindfolded, to the founder of the Republican Muslim Coalition showing up on Fox News wearing a star-spangled hijab. The question still stands, though, do Muslims feel compelled to denounce terrorism and prove themselves equal members of Western societies, or are we just saturated with images of a vocal few? In an interview, Ms. Ahmed, who was the founder of the Muslim Coalition of Republicans, has stated that the Muslims have a responsibility to defend their faith and explained that Islamic State in no way reflects their religion, which strongly condemns violence and terrorism. Her sentiments have been echoed around the Twitter sphere, with hashtags popping up like "terrorism has no religion," "not all Muslims," and "not in my name" trending worldwide.
So, Natasha, why is it that Muslims feel compelled to speak out in defence of their religion? Has this got anything to do with the mounting fears about Islamophobia?
Well, prior to the attacks in Paris, Tell Mama reported that Islamophobic attacks in the UK have risen by 70% in the last year. In fact, there's been a long history of this since 9/11. Before the attack on the Twin Towers, the FBI recorded 28 hate crimes against Muslims, whereas the year after the number spiked to 481. Could this be why the Muslim Council of Britain has gone so far as to take out an advertisement across national press to really push forward a unified condemnation of the most recent attacks?
But why is it that they feel that they have to come out and apologise publicly for it?
The real question is, are there societal pressures that the Western countries have put on Muslims to apologise? On Twitter, we can see the other side of the story. In fact, one user has said, "We shouldn't have to defend our religions. We shouldn't have to say things that go hand in hand with common sense." We asked people in London this morning what they thought.
It's very easy to justify violence based on the Quran, based on the Bible, because there is a lot of violence in those scriptures. I think people need to take them less literally.
When I've lived overseas, when I've lived in Muslim countries, I've got to know people there and tried to understand their way of life, their beliefs, and even if it contradicts with what I believe, at least it's that understanding there.
So we should be able to be educated enough to understand that it's not Muslims who are doing this attack, it's extremists.
There is an internal conflict, obviously, within Islam, and they need to come out and reclaim the religion for what it is.
The answer to this isn't clear, but it's a question that everyone in our society, not just Muslims, should have to answer. Should a whole religion be held accountable for the violent acts of a few?
Thanks, Natasha. Now, after the break, following Charlie Sheen's announcement that he's HIV positive, we look at how attitudes towards the virus are changing.
Good evening, I'm Suna Yokes, and today's story. National HIV Testing Week kicks off tomorrow in the UK. There are over 35 million people worldwide living with the condition. The British charity Terence Higgins Trust wants to encourage more people to get tested. It comes as actor Charlie Sheen, who publicly revealed his HIV status this week, faces potential lawsuits from accusers who argue he knowingly exposed them to the virus. We now have our international correspondent, Ninka Mumbai. Ninka, following Charlie Sheen's admission, are attitudes to those living with HIV changing?
Well, we've spoken to quite a few people about this, but the fact that Charlie Sheen paid millions and millions in order to keep his condition secret shows us that actually the stigma might still be attached to those living with this illness. But let's look at the public's opinion.
I feel like people just kind of think if you've got it, they just assume that you sleep around a lot. But, you know, in actuality, you can sleep with one person, it could be your first time and you can get it.
It's not that strange anymore, not that secret anymore, so more accepted.
When someone knows that he is infectious and then he has sex with someone else, unsafe sex, then I think it's not fair for the other persons.
I think it should be a lot more commercials about it. It's not that of a much big deal. It's more common.
People need to, be a bit more clear about the issues around it, and should get checked a lot more and make it more of a thing like going to the dentist, because it's too dangerous. It really is.
Now, there's another issue which is part of the debate that's going on. Should people be held accountable when transmitting the disease to another person, knowing that they've got it? Now, we've had lots of different people with lots of different points of views. The main issue here is the difficulty to actually prove whether someone has told the other partner of the condition.
Do you think that it's important that the partner is upfront about it? Do you think that that's the most important thing? And if they're not upfront, should it result in a criminal punishment against them?
Well, the issue here is that some people say that you're inflicting a murder, a death sentence on other people, so they believe that people should be charged with murder. Other people think it's a bit harsh, so yeah. It's a whole debate.
Fantastic, thank you so much, Ninka. And coming up next on the show, how bad can things get on Black Friday?
Welcome back. I'm Juju Han. It's almost the 27th of November. Christmas is coming up, and we all know what that means. It's Black Friday, and most of you have been probably saving up for this exciting day. According to the Center for Retail Research, Britain will spend approximately $1.47 billion in 24 hours, and that's only online. This chaotic day has also seen several injuries and deaths in recent years. The website Black Friday Death Count tracks this kind of thing. It has reported 7 deaths and 98 injuries since 2006. Shama Sinindi will tell us more about this.
It's truly shocking, Jude. Can you believe that in 2008, a worker from Long Island died in a Walmart stampede? This US phenomenon is infamous for its manic sales and even more manic behaviour. The question is, how out of control can Black Friday get? Let's see what the people of London have to say.
It's not a good thing to do because it's creating people to shop just on one day. You need to promote shopping all over the whole year.
Oh, it's crazy. That is crazy. Last year it was mental.
I think it's more crazy for girls.
It's things that you shouldn't really be so aggressive over. And I mean, I like to shop, but I think I'd prefer to do it online, you know, it's a bit easier.
People go crazy to get the discounts. When really the discounts, you could find them all year, really.
According to IMRG, the UK's Association for Online Retail, last year $550,000 was spent per minute during Black Friday. 8.5 billion online retail transactions took place and 40% price cuts were seen. Equally, across the UK, police officers were called to stores because of threats, assaults, traffic and also control issues. Which brings us to Cyber Monday. Many will be choosing to shop online instead of in the shops to get away from all of the crazy behaviour. Shopping from online has become more popular in order to avoid the crazy sales. How will you be spending your Black Friday? Over to you, Jude.
Thank you very much, Shama. Well, we'll see. I'm going back home to Jordan, so I'll definitely be buying a lot of gifts to go back home. That's it from all of us here in London. This was a special CNN broadcast. Thank you for joining us. Good night.